with that, we're nearing the close. Now we open the floor for question and answers. My colleague, Miss Maritza Harris, will be, she has a few questions, but equally, we had asked if, or attendees, if you have any questions you would like to ask, now is the time, and we have again our people here who can support and help by answering those questions that you may have. So the floor is open.
Okay, good evening, everyone. If I should invest in solar panels, what happens if the sun is shining?
Who do you direct that question to? Mr. Yan. You can pass the mic to Mr. Yan. If the sun is not shining, what was the question, Mark? If the sun is not shining?
If I should invest in solar panels, what happens if the sun is not shining?
All right. You invest in solar panels, but the sun not come out. The sun is not shining. What happens then? Mr. Yan.
So I guess you need to, you can use electricity from the grid, and if you are off-grid, then you'll need the generator to generate electricity, or you could also invest in batteries to use the electricity while the sun is not shining. So.
All right. So great. We have power from batteries. If you have a grid-tied system, you get power from the grid as well. So it is not the end all. The sun will come out again.
Thank you. Godwin Hulse. There is a program, I understand, through BEL, whereby they will be creating, together with the PUC, certain amount of legislation for feedback into the grid. If one wants to invest in, let's say, up to 1 megawatt, which most of it would be fed back, granted that the DFC is providing some of the financing, are you in collaboration with the PUC to establish the kind of reasonable rates for feedback into the grid? And in throwing that out, I am hearing things like 4 cents and 6 cents, which I don't think you can do. Because if we're getting from CFE Mexico for anywhere around 30 or 40 cents, it would make sense if you're paying about 10 or 12 cents at least for solar. You have any feedback on that, or anybody? Thank you.
Okay.
The second question is, of course, and this is for the technical people, perhaps maybe Mike, can you put these solar panels on low land, not swamp necessarily, but low land that is subject to periodic flooding? Is it possible?
Excellent questions. Thank you, Mr. Godwin Holtz. And would Mr. Magloire like to respond to that? You have the mic, Mr. Magloire.
Okay, good afternoon, everybody. Very pertinent questions regarding the pending legislation for grid interconnection. DFC has been around the table. We've attended all the sessions, or most of the sessions, regarding the development of the energy policy, the action plan. The matter of the rate determinations, of course, would have to be based on the analysis done by BEL and presented to PUC. Remember, the PUC is here to ensure that organizations like BEL and the utilities do not take unnecessary advantage of clients. So their role is really to ensure that whatever is approved by that unit is equitable to clients. So rest assured, the PUC got back on this one. The second question was, can you put the solar panels anywhere? That was it?
Yes, on lowland areas, and in case there's flooding or hurricane.
Do you want to take that, Jan? Or SCSB? Or?
Mr. Matthew Ludwig of SCSB will be responding to that question.
Okay, so when it comes to installation location, part of that you'd refer back to your manufacturer warranty of whoever's supplying the panels. Generally speaking, for solar panels, if you submerge them in water, you're going to lose the warranty even if they do continue to work. Inverters have to be kept in a location where they cannot be submerged. You can't install them somewhere where you have flooding. So For the specific details of your question, it would be possible, but you would need to install the panels above any possible water level, pole mountings or something like that. And the inverters and such hardware would absolutely have to be above any potential flooding of the area.
Thank you, Mr. Ludwig. We have another question from the floor.
Good afternoon. Since this is a long-term investment, is there an insurance component on the panels?
Excellent question. Don Maglore. Mr. Maglore is also, he worked with DFC at length for quite some time, and he is also our climate champion. He's a consultant this time and a climate champion, but he's very, very knowledgeable in this area. So, Mr. Maglore.
Yeah, most of the components of the solar PV systems are in fact insurable. In fact, I'm told that if there is a storm and your panels blow off, more than likely your roof will blow off too. So they're very durable. And so yes, we've spoken to insurance companies. They are willing to insure certain components of the system.
All right. I particularly would want to, I do know, reference the earlier question by Mr. Holtz, no? And he mentioned about PUC and also BL. I know Mr. Morris, you're joined by equally an expert who's working with Light Up Belize, and she's working with BL. And to answer the question that Mr. Holtz had touched upon, when it comes to I believe it's the net metering feeding back into the grid, etc. What's happening at this point in time with BL, or what's a talk at this point in time reference that?
Right. Good afternoon, everybody. And thank you for offering me the opportunity to respond to that question, which I think is really pertinent and relevant worldwide, globally. And I think Belize is venturing into the space now of the practical implications, which start with safety and technical considerations, that linesmen that might be working on the national network would not be put at risk from equipment that is maybe live and generating within the distribution network. But then it comes to the commercial questions, and I think that's where the current discussions are. I can't speak on behalf of the PUC nor on BEL, but what we know is this is a pressing issue because it's seen to be the future. These distributed energy resources, which means solar panels generating electricity, wind turbines generating electricity, and batteries that can absorb and regenerate, electric vehicles also that will become bidirectional. All of these questions have to be addressed in the new electricity network and the regulatory frameworks that govern that. So the question is on the table. I know that there are discussions, I know there have been comments invited around these topics, and I might just take the opportunity, if I may, to just also inform everybody that there's currently a policy upgrade in Belize, which we are supporting. And so I would invite you to inform yourselves about that new policy that is under proposal and to make comments. I'm just trying to think what will be the best mechanism to provide you with a link to that draft document.
You would be able to share it with ourselves, Mr. Morris?
I think that might be the best way to do it.
We would be able to share.
But currently, I think we are looking to try and get feedback by the end of or middle of January on this draft document. And I think it would be very, very valuable for people from your perspectives, which means businesses, small businesses, and maybe not government agencies or private households, to give that perspective, because small businesses are the drivers of the economy. And I think the policy would want to hear from you as stakeholders. So I would just give that advert and that plug. And certainly I will share the links.
Thank you very much,
so
Mr.
we could
Morris.
say
Would appreciate that. Mr. Maglore, he has something to add.
Just as a follow-up, one of the determined contributions that the Belize as a country has made to the UNFCCC is that they would provide the regulations for grid interconnection by the end of this year. So running a little bit behind, but we're also encouraged, because it has to happen. And we're also encouraged by what we've seen in the policy revamping. It addresses all those concerns. And so sooner rather than later, we are going to have grid interconnection.
Thank you, Mr. Malgore. Also, I know we had that confirmation with a gentleman from Beltrade. Is someone from Beltrade in attendance at this point in time? Yes. Would you be able to share? You had given me some insight about law, but share more details about it if you may, and kindly share your name as well, please.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Francisco Quiroz. I'm an investment officer for Beltrade, and when we heard about this, we jumped on it because it's important that both Beltrade and DFC works hand in hand with advancing the priorities of the government of Belize. One of them is no doubt green energy, which is what we're here to talk about today. This is very important because Beltrade, which is the agency that administers the fiscal incentives for the government, is actually, we just finished a round of consultations with stakeholders, and one of the new priority sectors that is being added to the amplified list is green energy. So with DFC providing finance, which is one of the most important components, we will now be able to offer duty exemptions on imports of green energy components, right? So what does this mean? What does this mean? It means businesses small businesses, and by the way, we at Beltrade just finished a 10-week road show for micro, medium, and small enterprises. So that in itself is one of the commitments that the current administration and the government of Belize has for small, medium, and micro enterprises. But this is important because it will allow businesses that are in services, tourism, agriculture, information technology. I see, I think one of the videos also showed data processing or outsourcing. All of these companies may be able to apply for fiscal incentives under the current Fiscal Incentive Act. And also, that act in itself is being in the process of being repealed and replaced by a new one. It is important to note also that this act now offers what we term as a one-off exemption. A one-off exemption of $1 million Belize dollars worth of goods on imports. So previously, many investors used to always, or many individuals used to say, Beltrade only offers incentives for large businesses. What this is showing now is government's commitment to work with small businesses by allowing you to import over a period of 12 months a dollar figure or a dollar value of 1 million and below, right? So it's in its sense, it's reducing the paperwork. The DFC is offering the finance, which, I mean, how can I say, can't really get better than this, right?
Can't lose.
So it is important for us to know about this. Obviously, we will embark on a promulgation campaign to make sure that all of this information is made readily available to you guys, and of course, partnering with DFC. I think that we're on the right track. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Quiroz. We have another question from the floor.
Yeah, so I have a question now referring to Beltrade and DFC at the same time. Yeah? So we own and operate a hotel. We have a very substantial solar system, had that in place for a while. Unfortunately, now our battery system is at the end of its life cycle. So we will need, I don't know, batteries, something 25, 30,000 US dollars. Okay? As you know, there's high import duty on batteries. Would you be able to help in that? And I understand that you would finance it, if I got you right. Yeah.
Check and check.
Well, obviously we'd have to look at the plan. It does sound like it's something that can work. We'd have to look at the details of the plan. But like I mentioned, this is now being offered for the first time. It's the government's commitment to show that we are serious about helping small, medium enterprises. And of course, we're serious about climate, becoming a country that we are being affected by climate change, and we have to start to act in accordance to mitigate and perhaps to reduce our carbon footprint. So I think it is something worthwhile that we can certainly look at that plan. Sure.
You can get his contact information.
Beltrade is really singing music to my ears, because one of the things that we always said didn't make much sense is the fact that you could have gotten duty-free concessions if you brought in an off-grid solar PV as a unit. So you had duty-free concessions. But if you wanted to do replacement, like the good gentleman here, that's a 30% duty. So please take his number. We're going to hold on to this. In the event it fails, DFC will finance the duty for you. In the event it fails.
I would want to be married to Mr. Magloire. You know, he's kind of halfway there. No, but any other questions? We will. One final question that you may have, Ms. Maritza.
Is it beneficial to invest in EERE technology in the absence of a grid connection policy?
Yeah, I think we saw from the SSB analysis that it can be a good investment if you're properly sizing the solar panels to match your energy consumption. So if you're able to sort of assess what's your consumption throughout the day and then match the solar panels to that, then even if you don't have the feed-in tariff, then it would still be a good investment.
Again, I always advise clients. You are in the business. If you're there in the hotel sector, you're there. Your business is tourism. If you're there in agriculture, your business is agriculture. You're not in the business of providing energy. So, if you are able to get a feed-in tariff, that is icing on the cake. What you need to do, as Jan rightfully said, is first size your equipment such that you're able to consume all the energy you produce. That in itself makes the project already viable. If you are able to sell excess, and again, like we said, the interconnection policy will be in place sooner rather than later, that then allows you to generate additional cash flows to reduce your payback period. So the long and short of it is, first think about your operational efficiency, then think about producing energy for sale to the utility.
Thank you very much. I would like, let me stand at the front. I would just also maybe take the opportunity to expand the discussion around why you would think about investing in energy efficiency and renewable energy beyond just the financial and the cash flow, which are extremely important. And you can see these payback periods are completely reasonable, even without the feed-in tariff. So it'll only get better when a feed-in tariff becomes available. But I think there's another element which is a financial consideration, but which actually reflects the risk profile of your business. When you are running your business on renewable energy that is within your control, as opposed to energy that you are buying from an outside service provider. And that is just to do with the fact that you can, once you have made the investment, you have a solar system running your hotel, the costs for that electricity are actually fixed. You have then predicted those costs for the lifetime of the system. And that helps the cash flow for the rest of your business. You don't have to worry about the risks of the energy costs going up next year because the utility raises costs. That would be outside your control. Mexico raises costs. That's outside your control. But your solar system is inside your control. And so I just want to make that point that when you're thinking about your own investments and your own risk profile in your business, an energy efficiency investment reduces your exposure to risk. It provides resilience. And not just financial resilience, it could also, when you start to make those investments, provide actual energy resilience. That your systems can last longer and provide coolth or heating or whatever for longer in the event that the grid goes down. So there's that resilience. So I just wanted to expand the discussion beyond just the cash flows, which we recognize are critical, but also to say there's this other maybe more subtle element of changing the risk profile of your business when you are in control of your own energy services. So,
thank you very much, Mr. Morris. And I think with that, we will now move to close. Thank you so much, everyone, for the excellent questions and equally the relevant answers to those questions.